Welcome for those of you that just joined us. We're going to give everybody a few minutes just to get logged on.
Bienvenidos a todos los que nos están acompañando. Vamos a tomarnos unos minutos para que todos empiecen a entrar.
Good morning for those of you that are just joining us. We're going to give everyone just a few minutes to log on before we get started.
Buenos días a todos los que nos acaban de entrar. Estamos esperando unos minutos más para que entren más personas.
All right, since it is 9:03, we can go ahead and get started. And before we do, we have a quick word from our interpreter. So thank you everyone for joining us this morning.
Buenos días a todos. Vamos a estar grabando la sesión. También vamos a estar dando servicios de interpretación simultánea en español. En la pantalla van a ver el círculo del globo terrestre. Ahí le seleccionan español para que escuchen la interpretación simultánea en español. Gracias. So I just announced that there's going to be interpretation provided. So I'm going to go to the Spanish room now. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining the Bruce Randolph Small Business Meeting with us this morning. Really do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy morning to be able to meet with us at the city. We are looking forward to meeting with you and really hearing from you. The purpose of this meeting today is really for us to be able to hear from you. As some of you might know, Dottie was currently in the planning process of some bikeway and safety improvements on Bruce Randolph that were based on recommendations from previous planning work. But we really want to hear from you on what your operational needs are as businesses that serve the communities along this corridor. So that way we can better accommodate your needs as businesses in the design of any improvements. I want to be super transparent and very clear that a design is not finalized and we are aiming to be as flexible as possible. So again, we really want to hear from you and what your needs are as businesses that serve the community along Bruce Randolph, so that way we can accommodate that in the design of any improvements. Just a quick important note, this video will be recorded so that it can be viewed by anyone that was not able to attend. We will also be utilizing the chat. For those of you that are joining us on the computer, we'll be utilizing the chat to talk. We'll also be utilizing, for those of you that are joining us on the phone, we will be using our microphones on the phone as well. The chat will not be recorded, but again, the video will itself. Oops. So just a little bit of what we'll cover today. For the first about 10 minutes or so, we have a quick presentation that we'll be giving you. And then really after that, it's really for us to hear from you. So from 9:20 to 10 o'clock, we'll be having a discussion with you. We're actually going to be breaking out into smaller groups that are based on the geography. And so when we break out, that's to have more of a small group discussion, so that way we can make sure that we hear from you. And then we'll be regrouping after that. And when we regroup, we'll have a larger discussion as a group, and we'll kind of discuss what we've heard so far, and also discuss next steps. Before we continue, I'm going to introduce some of the city staff that are here to listen to you and that are also here to take notes. So I'm just going to point out some of the staff that we have here today, starting with David Paulsford, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is David Paulsford. I work with Riley in the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, and I really appreciate you joining us on this snowy morning.
Thanks, David. And I realize I forgot to introduce myself. So I'm Riley Lemie. I am with the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure as well. And again, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Next, I'm going to introduce Anthony.
Good morning, everyone. Anthony Aragon. I'm a community engagement specialist with the Office of Community and Business Engagement with Dottie. And again, thank you for being here this morning.
Next, I will introduce Jason.
Good morning, everybody. Jason Glardo, Government Affairs for the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure.
Thanks, Jason. Karen.
Hi guys, Karen Good, also from Dottie and with the community design team.
Great, thank you. And then I will do Nora, and then Charlie, and then Nikki.
My name is Nora Newrider, and I support the team with communication and outreach.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning, Charlie Alexander, support the team with planning and design.
And then I'm Nikki Silva, also support the team with planning and design.
Great. So we have lots of note takers that are again here that are ears that are here to listen to you today. So again, thank you so much for joining us. So we've been out in the community for a little bit, almost a year now, just kind of listening to the community about mobility concerns related to Bruce Randolph. And so Bruce Randolph is really what we're here to talk to you about. As some of you know, that there was a proposed bikeway for Bruce Randolph. But I want to be really clear that we're really early in the planning process. And so there's still time today to be able to change the design, to be flexible with the design. And so that's why we're kind of pausing, so that way we can take the time to hear from the businesses along the corridor. We realize that as we've been out in the community, we have heard a lot from the residents, but we haven't heard as much from the businesses. And so that's really important for us to hear, so that way we can accommodate the business needs in the design of any mobility improvements for Bruce Randolph. So again, we're really early in the design. Any improvements that would be planned would not be constructed until 2022. So we're kind of trying to kind of pause where we're at right now, again, so that way we can have some more conversations with the businesses. David, there's a couple of,
Yep.
I know you were going to speak here, so I'll pause there.
Great. Yeah. So just to zoom out a little bit, literally, one of the questions we often get when we get right down into a community is, why this street? And so it helps to kind of zoom out a little bit and say that what Denver's trying to do with respects to building out a complete network. And so just like people in cars, people on bikes like options and alternatives. And Denver has a goal of getting all of Denver within a quarter mile of a high comfort facility, a road or a path or what have you. where the people feel comfortable. And we're trying to get this into every neighborhood, not just certain parts where people are already riding. We're trying to get all of Denver access to that. And we know that this is an important issue with the amount of people moving to Denver and Denver's growth, and that the roads can only hold so many cars. And, transportation is a household's second biggest expense. And so if we can make transportation more affordable by giving people more affordable options like walking, biking, and taking transit, we're impacting their life, impacting their quality of life, and making it more affordable for them to live and shop and do business in Denver. And so that's what we're trying to do. And that kind of helps set the context for why a bikeway. And then when you zoom back down in to Bruce Randolph, you can see how that plays at the local network. So Bruce Randolph will do a really good job of connecting to some of our existing and proposed bike facilities. So it really creates an important east-west connection between, you can see some of those routes going north and south there on our map, and as well as connecting to important businesses and other land uses. So in addition to creating connectivity within the network, bike facilities also help slow speeds. So even if you're not interested in riding bikes, but you are interested in cars, driving more predictable and having slower vehicle speeds. I know that this morning we spoke with Pastor Jeff, and he was mentioning that there's been quite a few accidents on this stretch of road, and something that he was concerned with. So that's obviously something that we want to look at and see if we can improve the function of the road to make it work better for the people who live and have businesses on it.
So just to talk about a little bit of the past planning work real quick. What we're talking about today in terms of making mobility improvements on Bruce Randolph that would benefit both people riding bike and walking as well. We're looking at making pedestrian improvements as well. And also, as David talked about, improvements that would benefit vehicles by reducing speeds, so making the streets more safe. Some of these plans have gone back as far as the 70s, as far as recommending Bruce Randolph to be improved for pedestrians, bicycles, and transit. So just want to reiterate that what we're talking about today is not the first time that some of this has come up. And then again, this was recommended in the Denver Moves Bicycles plan that was developed in 2011 for bike improvements. Again, we've been out in the community engaging, and while we've heard from a lot of the residents, we realize that there's been a gap in our outreach and that we haven't been able to engage as much with businesses. So that's where we're at today, is we want to, again, engage with as many businesses as possible, especially because you know this street the best as the people that work and operate businesses on the corridor every day. We understand that there's a lot of different unique needs along Bruce Randolph. And one of the things that our team went out and did was we wanted to get an understanding of how many businesses are along Bruce Randolph and whether or not what parking looks like. And so one of the things that we noted is that about 2/3 of the businesses are on the north side of the street, and about 1/3 of the businesses are on the south side of the street. And we understand that a lot of these businesses have unique needs, especially from a parking perspective, and especially on the north side of the street, again, just with the majority of the businesses being on that side. And so what we're trying to understand today is kind of what your needs are as the business owners along the corridor. We've met with the Epworth United Methodist Church, and they did a great job of making us aware of some of their unique needs, especially from the fact that they operate a food bank. They talked about some of the services that they have throughout.
Hello?
And so we have met to understand those needs. So in just a minute, we're going to be going out into breakout rooms, so that way we can again have a discussion with you. So Just real quick though, again, this what I'm showing on the screen, if you're joining us on the computer, is just showing us a diagram of what that looks like. I know that some of you saw what was a concept that showed a bike lane with on the street that showed parking impacts. Again, I want to be really clear that we can be flexible in this design. So this was just a draft. This is not set in stone. This is not finalized. We're actually pausing on this design so that way we can hear from you first and again, better be able to accommodate your needs with any improvements that would occur on the street. So with that, we're going to be entering into some breakout rooms that are based on where you're at on the street. So basically between Downing Street and York, we'll be breaking out into one smaller group. And then if you're east of York, from York to Colorado, we'll be going we'll be breaking out into a smaller group that way. If you have not done so already, if you can indicate in the chat where your business is at, just so that way we can make sure that we put you into the appropriate breakout room. We'll be joining for about 20 minutes and we'll have a discussion and then we'll regroup as the larger group so that way, again, we can hear from all of you again. And so give us just a couple seconds. My colleague Sarah is going to help kind of assign everyone to the appropriate room. So.
Hello?
Hello there.
This is Scott.
Hi, Scott. We're gonna be, oh, go ahead.
Hello?
Hello.
This is Pastor Jeff. I'm trying to get in, but I'm having a hard time logging in here, so I came by phone.
Okay, no worries. We'll make sure that we put you in the breakout room that's between York and Downing Street, just so that you're in the right place. So thanks for joining. Yep.
Jesse Scott.
All right, Sarah, are you able to help us?
Park Hill Barbers. Hello? Hello? Hello, Jesse Scott.
Hi all, this is Sarah. I'm the support on this meeting and I just opened the breakout rooms and you should be able to choose based off of where your business is or where you're located between Downing to York or York to Colorado. If you need any help from me figuring that out, I am happy to help. Just let me know.
I'm in York to Colorado. I'm on 3115 Bruce Randolph.
Okay, and your last four digits are
80205. What did you say?
Sorry, everyone. Just bear with me as I am looking in the chat and listening on the audio.
All right. Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Just making sure. This is Pastor Jeff. I'm having problems with the computer or internet, but I'm on the phone right now.
Okay, and what is your last four digits of your phone number?
Oh, it's the one I'm calling in on?
Correct, yes.
6287.
$6287. I'm actually not seeing that phone number.
I know.
Hi, Darcy.
Hi, Pastor Jeff.
I recognize your laugh.
Hey, Dorsey.
The individual whose name is Bourne, you said you're on 3349 York. Would you prefer to be, since you're right in the middle, would you prefer to be in the Downing to York or York to Colorado room?
I guess York to Downing to York.
Okay. I'm putting you there right now. All right, so I'm gonna go down the list. So I have phone number 2258. Do you mind letting me know which breakout room you would like to be assigned to?
Outside. And it was like, push more people to park there, given there's only 10 spaces in front of my building.
What's your address?
What's that?
I'm in your phone number. Yeah.
It could be, we have so many lines, all I have is line 1, 2, and 3, so it could be 2258.
Oh,
I'm on
is this
I'm on your
Pastor
site.
Jeff?
Get into your meeting.
Is this Pastor Jeff that's talking right now?
Ma'am.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you said Downing to York or York to Colorado?
I'm between York and Downing.
Okay, perfect. Putting you there now. All right, the next phone number I have is 9143 as the last 4 digits.
Jesse Scott, Park Hill Barbers.
Okay. Sorry, can you repeat your business again?
Park Hill Barbers. Is Dorsey on there? Park Hill Barbers. Dorsey.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you're York to Colorado. All right. The next phone number I have is 2726 is the last 4 digits.
I just want to double check that.
I have a 4385 as the last 4 digits. Can you please let me know your business name or whether you'd like to be in Downing to York or the York to Colorado breakout?
No? Okay. Hello?
All right, I'll keep going down the list and come back to you. So I have the last 4 digits as 2726. Can you please let me know what your is or which breakout room you would prefer to be in?
Let's see.
I'm gonna keep going down the list and come back. We have last 4 digits is 7209. If you could let me know which breakout room, Downing to York or York to Colorado. Breakout room would you like to be put into, Downing to York or York to Colorado?
Just to the breakout room, I just wanted to say the other piece was 35th that we'll look at, and thank you so much. I'll hand it back over to Riley. Will be speaking in a moment, but just wanted to finish my thought there and thank everyone.
Thanks, Karen. So we're rejoining the main group. We had a lot of great discussion in the last couple of breakout rooms. There was someone speaking in our last breakout room, and we didn't mean to cut you off. If you wanted to continue your thought, you can unmute yourself and continue.
Well, can Ratch Barbershop say something? Okay, so the gentleman was saying that he doesn't feel safe on 35th Avenue. But if a bike lane is placed on 35th Avenue, that gives him a lane to ride in. And therefore, traffic has to abide by the bike lane that has been put in place on 35th Avenue. There's no bike lane on 35th Avenue right now. And that's probably why he had an issue riding his bike. But if there's a bike lane there, then it'd be safer for bikes to ride up and down 35th because of the bike lane. Okay.
Thanks for that comment. Karen, I know that I'm interested to hear, so thanks everyone again we had a lot of really great discussion in the breakout rooms and we only have about 10 minutes left. So I just want to kind of summarize a little bit of what we heard. Karen, just can you talk about what you talked about in the breakout room between York and Colorado.
Sure. I was just doing a quick summary for our participants. We have folks from the barbershop on our side, our breakout group, Jesse. We had Federico from the auto shop, as well as, let's see, barbershop, auto shop, coffee shop, and one of our community stakeholders as well that was active in the planning of this project. A couple of the things that came up, most of the businesses in this section are on the north side, so they would love to retain parking on the north side. However, they know that the residents on the south side often don't have parking, so are uncomfortable with making that hard choice, that they need the parking, but other folks do too. Some questions came up about 35th and whether we could look at 35th as an alternate, as well as the conversation about there already being a facility on MLK, and could people just use MLK and come over to Bruce Randolph. Another conversation piece that we had was that there is a fairly significant amount of parking in the neighborhood. So the side streets are fairly utilized because, again, a lot of folks don't have garages and their own private parking. So there are a lot of concerns there, as well as I would say kind of a collaborative community feel, that we don't want to pit businesses against residents. We want to do this collectively and collaboratively and make sure, in particular, I don't know if Wright's Barbershop experiences this as well, but a lot of their customers are older and really need a parking right in front of the shop.
Yes, we do. We do need to park here at Wright's Barbershop because we're on a main street. There's a bus stop right there almost directly by the liquor store. So that eliminates parking. So we have older clientele that are on walkers, that have amputees, that have care assistants, and they need to be able to pull to the curb and be able to get out and walk in too. If there's a bike lane there, then that gives them a further distance to have to walk. And now their caregiver, they have to stop and park in traffic. And now that's impeding traffic. A bike lane on Bruce Randolph is not feasible. It's not feasible. We think it's a bad idea. You have one on MLK. If they want to come over to Bruce Randolph, you're on a bicycle, it's 3 blocks. What's the big deal? What's the big deal to ride over 3 blocks and then ride back 3 blocks to your bike lane, to where it's been established for you to ride in a safe zone? There's no distance in riding 2 or 3 blocks left or right. It doesn't matter. I don't think it's feasible to have a bike lane down Bruce Randolph from Downing Street to York or from York to Carl Boulevard.
I think the Wright's Barbershop helped summarize a lot of what we heard, and Karen, I think you summarized did a great job of summarizing what we heard in your breakout room. Nora, if you don't mind, just kind of summarizing some of what we heard in the breakout room that we were just in, that would be wonderful.
Sure. Very much like York to Colorado, we heard concerns about parking is necessary for the health and welfare of the businesses on the north side. As Wright's Barbershop just indicated, people need to pull in and disembark so that they can use the businesses. There is a desire not to pit customer parking against residential parking and push parking into the side streets. People have to feel like they have to circle already to look for parking in the area. There is concern about the safety of the street. Speeds are high, intersections have experienced accidents, and there's concern about how bike lanes interact with those intersections as well. I'm trying to look at my notes here. 35th was mentioned as an option as well. 31st came up as an east-west option as well. There were some alternative viewpoints also that there is more and more residential requests to have bike access to local businesses, and that there are potential benefits from a business standpoint to those people who would like to use their bicycles to get to businesses. Not to mention that there are cyclists who use these streets to get to work, who are using their bicycles not just for leisure, but for work access as well. I guess the concern with 35th that was brought up is that right now it doesn't actually feel safe for cyclists. But the comment was that with a bike lane, 35th actually could be perceived as a safe biking route. I think I've covered the points. I don't know if if anybody from the team wants to.
You left out the church.
The church, yes. Epworth United Methodist Church is on the north side of the street and serves the community and has a variety of activities that require parking, including their food bank on Tuesdays and Thursdays, their services on Sundays, their lunches during the summer, and their supervised visitation opportunities for foster families. So there's a whole host of needs in that particular stretch of Bruce Randolph.
Thanks so much, Nora, for summarizing that for us. So as you can see, we've been writing down and summarizing everything that we've heard today. We only have 2 minutes left, and I know that everyone needs to get on with their day. So what we will be doing is we're going to take everything that we heard from you today, and we're going to take that to our leadership at the city and be able to kind of relay everything that we heard from you with them. We will be following up with you a little bit later on as we have some of those conversations. We will be following up within the next month or so to kind of have additional conversations and to kind of update you on where things are at. So I really do appreciate you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk with us. And Karen, I know you had something else you wanted to mention real quick.
Super quick. I wanted to make sure Riley did a great job of making sure that this meeting is being recorded so that anyone that you know that couldn't be here can access it. Riley, do you want to let folks know how they can get to that so that they can share that with either other residents or business owners?
Yeah, so I'll show my screen real quick here. So there is a website that is bit, so it's bit.ly/Denver Moves Networks. So if you go to that website, the recording will be posted there. We can also make sure that it's emailed. You can also call the project hotline to get access to the recording, which is 303-223-6575. And then for any other questions or concerns, you can also email Denver Moves. So it's Denver, M-O-V-E-S, Denver Moves @denvergov.org. That's another way that you can email us to get to be able to provide more information about the project. So again, what we're going to do is taking all the great feedback that we heard, and we're going to relay that back to our leadership. And then we'll be following up with you within the next couple of months to provide an update on everything. So with that concludes our meeting today. So thank you so much for joining. And Nora, you had one quick thing.
Yeah, if we could leave the meeting open for a minute or two for those folks who would like to share their email with us so that we can reach back out to you in an efficient manner. If you can put it in the chat, that would help us greatly to make sure that we're in communication. Thank you.
Sounds great. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. And I really do appreciate that you taking the time out of your day. This has been super helpful for us to understand and for us to have a conversation with you. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
No, it was that was a Zoom call. They're